How to set up tiers for tier-based link building. Is having more tiers give better results? So to have tiers for link building, you just have to build some links.
Right. You're
And
going to
then
build one layer of links and then another layer of links and possibly more layers
maybe
after
I'll
that.
get out Paint for
Yeah,
this.
that's a good idea.
All right, so do I got the right tool? Okay. So yeah, so here's your website, right? And then okay.
That's what I was
Now
saying.
there's your website, and then let's say here's your tier one links. And the tier one links just means
Directly pointing at your money site.
they're directly pointing to your money site, and yeah. So maybe this one's a guest post, links to your website. Maybe this one is a citation. Maybe this one is Web 2.0. Maybe this one is a niche edit. Maybe this one is
Socials.
maybe a social profile like your Facebook, or it could even be another profile like YouTube or anything really. Yeah, so this is your tier one, and these are just links that are pointing directly to your website. And then for tier two would mean you just you build some links and then link to these URLs. Basically, you link to your links, right? There's really nothing to it as far as setting it up. I guess just as far as choosing your tier one links, or choosing like what tier one targets you want to link to. You can just pick some of your basically your stronger links or your more relevant links that you kind of want to power up, basically, right? It just makes this link more powerful. And you can link to these things as much as you want. With your tier two links, people usually use something a little bit cheaper. But you can use anything you want, really.
Yeah, in some instances, like hypothetical, let's say links to Facebook pages, YouTube's, things that are directly correlated to your asset. You might want to use higher end stuff because you could also end up getting those things to resonate in the SERPs either alongside your brand or directly for terms if you're making YouTube videos, things like that. So you might want to go a little bit extra if you stand to get extra traffic from the SERP you're targeting.
Yeah. I mean, so you're just basically thinking about it the same way as linking to your website, right? Getting links to your website makes it more powerful. Well, the URLs that you're getting links from, when you link to those, it makes them more powerful too. So you're basically just you're beefing up your entire network, right?
Not to mention, you're making it look natural, right? Because it's very natural for a website to not only have links going to it, but for those links to have some sort of like history or press associated with them as well. And if you do that all in one motion, to answering the last part of your question, I would say yes, it does give better results. It's something that's commonly overlooked. There's not a lot of people that, in the grand scheme of things, I feel like there's not a lot of people buying tier 2 links, but it definitely would be advantageous to do so. I do it myself. Chris does it as well. So, yeah.
What would you say about what links to use for your tier 2 links?
A really good option for me is our barrage links, our niche edit barrage links. Just because you can buy a lot of them, they're not junk links. They're real websites, real potential to at least gain some trust to your tier 1 assets.
So we probably show these every week because they're just so
they're
useful.
Just versatile, yeah.
But Barrage are they're one of our niche edits, and they're actually our weakest niche edits. So they're down here at the bottom, and so buying a pack of 10, actually it comes with 14, up to 4 bonus links is the smallest pack you can get. And yeah, these things are cheap. They're probably average about $20 per link or so. And they just they're nice for tier 2 because they're so cheap. And so you can basically, you could buy like this Barrage 30 and you could hit, like maybe even like 15 of your different tier one properties. You could send 2 to each or whatever you want to do.
Now, this would be a very good quality link to spread out across, a few different guest posts, niche edits, whatever, if you wanted to do tier 2 links. However, you can also, like let's say you've got a very limited budget, you're doing this on your own. Web 2.0s, forum links, things like that would definitely work just fine. You're going to want to use similar links to what you use to a tier 1 or that you would use in a tier 1 scenario. The reason for that is because Google crawlers can read back multiple tiers of links. And so if you try doing something that was like acceptable 5 years ago, for example, I used to do a lot of GSA for tiered link building. If you do that now, 9 times out of 10, depending on the SERPs you're going after, you're going to crash your site. Or at least hinder it substantially. And then on top of that, if you're spending a lot of money on quality tier 1 links, to go spam those links out is counterintuitive to what you should be doing. You should be building up and, taking care of this network, not spamming it out in any way, shape, or form and risking that, you could get volatility or at worst, some sort of penalty.
Yeah, just like when you're building links to your site directly, you want to think about your tiered link building basically in the same way that we always teach link building. You want a diversified, natural looking link profile. You don't want it to look too bad. You might be able to get away with some spam. You might be able to get away with, a ton of PBNs, like pointing to a single tier 1 link. But, we opt for a little bit more conservative approach than that, and build for the long term rather than short term wins. And with that, I'll say another popular option for tiered link building is like these are our one-time payment PBN links, not the rental, but just the one-time payment. And you can get whatever one you want. I'd say probably most people probably use like a cheaper option for it. And yeah, these will pump a little bit more power than the niche edit, but they're also a little bit more unnatural. So, if you're going to be using PBN links to power up your tier 1 assets, God, I can't believe I say that. Then yeah, just make sure you're adding in some other stuff as well, and not just sending a ton of PBN links to everything. And it can work.
Main thing I would note is if you're using PBN links, it's probably safer to use them on things like your social profiles or things that have high authority values versus random guest posts and things like that, because unless you're really digging into the link profile of each one and determining whether a PBN link can be used safely, it's probably not the necessarily best tool, but we do offer rolling PBN links, so that'd probably be a solid option versus like a rental or something like that, unless you're going to social profiles or something that could, increase traffic to your website.
And so like Nick was saying, if you're going to use some more like aggressive, a bit more unnatural link building, like if you're going to start doing some, maybe some spam or just a ton of PBN links or something, then yeah, basically you want to use like a safer tier 1 target. One thing that people use a lot is like Web 2.0s, or you could, do it to stuff like your Facebook profile, something like that. Basically just I like to think of it kind of like a water filter, right?
Sure, yeah.
It's just it's such like a safe profile or whatever that it basically just filters out the kind of super unnatural, more risky types of links if you're going to be real aggressive with it.
Let's not forget that you can 301 to tier 2 and so forth as well. So if it is something that you've looked into and it warrants that you want a lot of power there, especially sometimes if it's like a newer project that I'd be working on, I'm going to start off probably looking at 301s or H domains to fit certain purposes, including tier 2 power-ups.
Just for like one more thing before we get off this question, what do you think like the most popular tier 1 targets are?
Probably social profiles, I think, right?
Like Twitter,
That's the main
Facebook.
thing that I see people actually actively doing. Like they know they can do it. They know there's benefit to it, especially when they're first starting out. It's like, well, I want to rank for my brand at least, and fill up all those spots. But then people that are kind of a little bit more in the know probably do Web 2.0s quite a bit, and then 301s to Web 2.0s as they can sort of act like filters too.
How do you feel about tiering to guest posts?
I'm not a huge proponent of that, unless it's like I said, maybe doing like some niche edits or something like that.
Something a little more natural.
Like Barrage, yeah, something more natural, because we're talking about a new page, right, with no power going to it, and then you've got to take in the variables of how strong that overall website that guest post is coming from, etc. So to me, if I'm going to be building to a guest post, then I'm going to be very clean about it. And technically, in some cases, that could get your guest post taken down by the person that runs the website if they're paying attention to that kind of stuff. So, just things to note. But I wouldn't get too aggressive. I probably wouldn't use PBNs on a guest post or anything like that.
Gotcha.
Not to mention, you can lose the link, right, over time. So why would you want to spend too much effort on something that you could potentially, not have at some point?
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Be sure to check the description below for links to our blog for more info on this topic, along with a bunch of other cool stuff like case studies, our Facebook community, and our link building services. And like always, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell if you enjoyed the video. Thanks and happy ranking.